You have ties back with Nashville. You spent some time there. So
Yeah.
if you talk back to people in Nashville, are they still going through the same pain that you're going through?
Well, I have, and a good friend of mine who I played with when I was in Nashville, and we wrote some songs, and we would go on little mini tours and things like that. And when I left Nashville, and he stayed there, but he's from Bay City, Michigan originally. Um, and Matt, my friend, he plays on tour with a couple different major artists, and those tours got shut down, and so he's luckily been able to pivot and start playing regionally. Basically doing the bar scene and the brewery scene and the winery scene and like all the small venues that I call them non-traditional venues, that are not just straight music venues. So he's been able to do that, but he's struggling as well. I mean, from the last conversation we had and from what I've been able to glean, everybody's in the same boat everywhere. And Nashville was shut down, just like most states have in some form or fashion. And then we turn to online platforms, right? We turn to doing the live streaming shows, and I did that during my time off as well. Weekly I would do an online show, and now Facebook has made some decisions to remove a lot of music from their streaming and video content. And their rationale for that change wasn't fully explained, but I believe, being in the industry, that the reason that they did that was probably that people had switched to that medium for finding music, listening to music, and it was probably the PROs, like ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC, that were seeing people getting paid for doing covers online, and the payments are going through Venmo and PayPal and things like that, like the fintech apps that everybody uses in their daily lives. And these PROs were not getting royalties for copyrighted music because they can't track the money because they don't have access to it. And Facebook wasn't going to put a stop to it. And while I don't have confirmation, that makes the most sense to me, is that they were kind of like, hey, well, we'd like you to stop doing this because we're not getting our piece of the pie. And so Facebook has changed the rules for both Facebook and Instagram. And as a musician, I'm still trying to understand exactly what that means, because several of my videos with my own original music that were online, I had to take them down because they threatened to completely erase my whole page if they
Wow.
found music that did not belong to me, or that I could not prove belonged to me. And so you're going to get those trolls that like try to find non copyrighted music and claim it as theirs just to get artists out of the system completely. Like there's a whole lot of like there's just it's a weird world right now, and trying to deal with that and navigate that. So now we're having to go with like YouTube Live only, because they basically, the Facebook rules, we don't really understand why they're doing it and what rules we want to follow so that we can still engage that community of users that we found as a tool throughout this whole process. It's
Mm.
very strange.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Facebook.
everything. Yeah, I do. It's and everything. Ultimately, as time continues to go on, everything is coming down to dollars and cents. And
Right. Right.
when, as we were talking earlier, as the big box stores and companies start feeling the pinch, it's amazing how
Yeah.
things can change.
Right. And how quickly. I mean, it was very quick. They told us that,
Mm.
I think I got an email saying that content creators new rules were coming down. Maybe I think it was like middle of September, and all those changes were going to go into effect October 1st. And so, I mean, if you're not paying attention, you might get hit and wonder why all of a sudden your account gets removed. And several artist friends of mine also got flagged and their entire accounts removed, like deleted from the system, unrecoverable, because they didn't respond to an email in a timely enough fashion that Facebook had given warning that their original music, they couldn't prove, like the little bots couldn't prove that who the owner was, and so it was copyright violations. And then because the artist didn't respond in time, they lost their entire following and their page and had to start over. And it's just like, why would you do that? Like, you know, that's a horrible business decision, because you're ostracizing this group of people in a community that thrives on a lot of that, especially to get through what we've been through over the last, 7 months now. And it's just, I don't think that they thought it really, they really thought it through, but I think they were focusing on the dollars and cents of it, you know?
That's wild.